welcome to Daily Politics, reaching you from TrustTV here in Abuja. I am Suleiman. Today we are discussing the re-emergence of the third force movement as politics thickens ahead of the 2023 elections. At every point in time, there is always a reason for people to feel aggrieved, to disagree, and to want to reinvent. Politicians who want to change are often ferocious with their ideas, and once in a while, as we saw in 2015, they succeed. They succeed in achieving what the economist Joseph Schumpeter described as creative destruction, that is, destroying established practices through innovation, bringing down the old order and creating a new one. The APC believes it achieved that in 2015. But since then, many opposition politicians and some idealistic ones are saying the APC too has not lived up to expectations. This has led to calls for a third force to challenge the power of both the APC and the PDP. So today we ask, can the third force dethrone the APC and the PDP? Can they do it in 2023? How will they do it? Can there even be a third force in Nigeria today? You will get all answers to these questions from my guests very shortly. Dr. Yunusa Tanko is the national chairman of the National Conscience Party, and of course, our very own Malang Awal Musa Rafsanjani is the executive director of Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, CISLAC. But before then, let's bring you a roundup of politics in the news today. Please stay tuned.
The Deputy Governor of Kano in the first term of Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, Professor Hafiz Abubakar, has pitched his tent with Senator Ibrahim Shekarau in an ongoing crisis rocking the state chapter of the All Progressives Congress APC. Shekarau, a two-term former governor and current senator representing Kano Central, had led some federal lawmakers and other stakeholders of the APC in Kano to break away from the leadership of the party under Ganduje. The crisis had led to two parallel executives in the state, with Abdullahi Abbas emerging as the Ganduje-endorsed chairman and Ahmadu Haruna emerging as chairman of the Shekarau's camp. The ruling All Progressives Congress APC has pegged its expression of interest and nomination form for Ekiti and Osun State governorship election at 22.5 million naira. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has fixed June 18, 2022 for Ekiti governorship election and July 16, 2022 for that of Osun State. According to details of the timetable released by the party on Tuesday, the expression of the interest form would go for 2.5 million naira, while nomination form will be sold for 20 million naira. The Lagos State Judicial Panel of Inquiry on Restitution for Victims of SARS-related abuses and other matters has reported the Lekki Tollgate shootings of October 20, 2020 as a massacre. The panel indicted soldiers and implicated Nigeria's security agents in the killing and forced disappearances of harmless and unarmed youths protesting at Lekki Tollgate on October 20, 2020. The panel, led by retired Judge Darius Okwobi, submitted the report at the Governor's office in Alausa, Ikeja, Lagos. According to the 309-page report, the protesters were allegedly killed by policemen and soldiers. The panel found out that there was an attempt to cover up the incident by cleaning of the Lekki Tollgate and the failure to preserve the scene ahead of the potential investigations. Meanwhile, the Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria, HURIWA, has advocated for the dismissal, arrest and trial of the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, for his shocking falsehood, which has now been contradicted by a judicial panel of investigators in Lagos. HURIWA made the demand in a media statement made against the backdrops of the issuance of a conclusive judicial report and a verdict by the Lagos State Judicial Panel of Investigations.
Welcome back. This is Daily Politics, and now let's get to the discussion proper. Dr. Tanko, as the politician among all three of us here, let's start with you. Do you believe that it is possible for any political party or any coalition of political parties to dislodge the APC and the PDP from power anytime soon in Nigerian politics?
There's never been a better time like now.
Okay.
The situation is so ripe for us to have an alternative platform. And I think that has already been in the space, in the political space. Majority of the people have tested these two political parties, which some people call them sesame twins. Okay. In fact, it's not even a third force in this particular regard. They are even looking for a second force, because people believe that both the PDP and the APC are one and the same political party. Because if you look at the historical background, that some of the people who are serving in government have been a member of the PDP, or they have, these ones who have also been a member of the APC at a particular point in time. So at this point in time, Nigerians are yearning for a credible platform. And I, from your intro, apart from the fact that I'm the national chairman of the National Conscience Party,
yes,
I'm the spokesperson of the Nigerian Consultative Front, that's National Consultative for the NC Front, okay, which I speak on behalf of eminent Nigerians who have really put their credibility online. I'm talking about people like Professor Tairi Jega. I'm talking about people like Pat Tomi, one time, then Gali Umanaba, Odisa Bakoba, quite a number of us.
Usman Bugaji,
all of us. Okay. Even although even Usman is part of the National Consultative Fund, at the same time floating the another one called Rescue Nigerian Project. Yes. So, but anytime you see all of this name being touted, the next thing you will hear that is a new party. Okay. It's a new party, and yet the party has not been formed yet, but people are already gravitating towards a new party. Okay. I believe, apart from the fact that well-meaning Nigerians are galvanizing themselves together, I believe that it is time for us to have a pragmatic approach to how we think we can change this particular situation.
But Malam Awal, are Nigerians really galvanizing for a third party? Is there that yearning, as he claims, that Nigerians are yearning for? Is there, what are the indications that people actually want an alternative, or even a credible alternative, or any alternative for that matter, to the APC and the PDP?
Even if Nigerians are yearning and demanding for alternative platform, it appears to be not possible soon. Okay. This is because of the commercialization and privatization of the political process. Okay. Nigerian political process is simply about money now. Okay. And, you know, as you may know, APC and PDP have invested so much structure and resources to continue to use money as a weapon to capture political powers. So the third form, or the alternative platform, has not got that confidence and trust from Nigerian people to know that it is going to be different from these two political parties, because Nigerian people have suffered enough in the hands of these two political parties, and therefore they have not been able to, you know, come out from the trauma that these two political parties have put them. So therefore, trust is a very key thing, and they are not finding it easy to do that. Secondly, the democratic platform that they will have, which is internal democracy in whatever political platform that is going to have, is going to, you know, take time to build, because the politicians are used to, you know, undermining internal democracy and allowing, you know, freedom of members to choose their members, even though National Assembly is attempting to ensure that there's direct primaries, which will go a long way in terms of allowing people with popular support within the party to emerge, you know, as officials,
as credible candidates within the party. So he's raised many issues. First, the strategic challenge that any third force or credible alternative or anything, whatever, we rescue Nigeria or third front, you know, but what did you call it?
Third front, NC front.
NC front, yeah, or whatever we may call it. They will face the strategic challenge of funding, of money to roll out a political platform that has representation across the country. That's one. He's also talking about how do you respond to that first?
Fantastic, because we've already identified these particular challenges before we actually put our credibility online.
Okay.
We know money is going to become a big challenge for us. We know that the platform is going to be another challenge for us, and then the deficit of trust between us and the electorate too is another issue.
Okay.
And that is why majority of us who have really worked hard to really put ourselves together in this particular platform have tried.
So what are you doing differently?
Yes, we are
because
doing,
all Nigerians have heard is
One thing we
force.
are doing differently is
yes.
that they will see very soon credible political parties that they are hoping that could have single-handedly belonged to a particular group are now coming together. And we are working, in fact, we are closing down. It's not that we don't want to just kind of expose some of the things that we are doing, but I can assure you that we are closing down on a political platform that will work together. In terms of finance, we don't want to say that we can match money for money with PDP or APC. No. In fact, what we are trying to discredit is the use of finance as against the interest of credible candidates. So what we want in essence is that we want the people, in terms of building that particular trust, not to say vote for Yunus Atanko or vote for Professor Atayiru Jega. No. What we want you to do as a people, because the power really lies in you, bring us the candidate from your own midst that you trust. Let them float and contest under this particular platform, so that the issue of finance will be a thing that, because you are the one that brings it, so we are not asking you to give you money. And then the issue of trust is that somebody that you trust on your own, and you supported that particular candidate and say, this is the person we are ceding to you. That way is now different from the old order. It's now something that is new, because what you see is the issue of internal party democracy.
Clearly, the theory,
yes,
as you have described it now,
yes,
theoretically, it looks brilliant.
Don't forget,
but practically,
don't forget, majority of us in that particular platform are progressive political party leaders. I have been in the political scene for more than years. So it's no more theory, it's more practical that we are using.
The thing is this, theoretically, what you've just, the picture you've painted is an interesting one. It looks quite brilliant.
Yes.
But Malawal, if you look at it, he is speaking about Nigerians, being not only following politics, but being ahead of politics, leading structural changes within the political environment, such as recruiting viable and credible candidates.
That's right.
We're talking about a country where the political structure is mainly dominated by card-carrying politicians, card-carrying party members who see their membership as a profession, as a business. That's what how this is going to work. Because if you go to the PDP or APC, the core party members are actually people who depend on their party membership for their livelihoods. That's for them. That's business. That's what they depend on.
Well, that is
How
why
can this happen?
Yeah, that is why I did not share the opinion that it will happen soon.
Okay.
It is going to be a process. They have to start demonstrating, how they want to do this, and when people begin to see results, then they can trust and then they can follow. But just to come and say you're going to have alternative to this too, they have not seen, they have not tested, and because of the fact that in the past, in fact, even the current government, APC, is like a coalition of political parties.
Yes.
And they have not seen anything different from what the PDP has done. So to come and have another coalition, definitely they will ask and interrogate, and then see also evidence of the fact that you want to come and make difference. So it is not enough to just, talk, but also begin for Nigerians to begin to see in a little way, how these things are playing out, so that they can then, throw their support to say that, okay, yes, if we do this, we may have the different results, not from the one that we just even have in 2015, election, because 2015 was just a configuration of different political parties and, political interests. But at the end of the day, did they serve the interests of the Nigerian people who have envisaged that it would be better than the other PDP? The answer is, of course, what Nigerians are talking about today. So I think, it is not wrong for them to come up with the alternative political parties, but it's going to really take time, and with their demonstrable commitment and experience and, serious mobilization, then that is when Nigerian will now believe, on that. Otherwise, it is going to be difficult to match these two, groups, these two political parties, with a new virgin, party that will come, and the only evidence they have is talk and theory.
That's interesting. So the only is not going to happen soon, but at the same time, you have an election in less than 2 years, in just about maybe 12, 13, 14 months or thereabouts. The election, according to our rules, election must hold by April, latest by April 2023. So the question now is this: how are you going to make this work between now and that time, given the fact that in Nigeria we have just one election every 4 years? So if you don't get any opportunity to do it now, the soon that he is talking about can be extended to another 2027, and then maybe if you are not lucky again, then 2011. So maybe we'll never have a third force.
The interesting part of it is this: the aspect of open criticisms of whether it is doable or not doable is what makes us strong. Okay. Because in 2019, the history has it that we tried it, it didn't work. So we've learned from that experience. Okay. So we're not starting just now. We've already started long before now. So we've had our falls and starting getting up and all. We've already had it. And don't forget, in 2019, the total registered population voters was 83 or 85 million people.
Yeah.
Out of it, the president got 15 million. And the closest to him was 11 million from Atiku Abubakar. Combined together, the total number was 33 million.
Yes.
What happened to the 50 million? So those are our targets. We are targeting those particular undecided voters, those who do not even want to even partake. And I can tell you quite a number of them have already started coming up. They are the one even energizing us, encouraging us that we need another platform. Let us see what we can do.
In other words, you want to expand the electorate.
Yes, we want to
really
increase
people to come and vote.
Come and vote, and then that's why we are involving the people, the persons with disability, youths, women, any group that will bring in credibility into the system is our target. And then we are determined to make it work. And quite a number of people have come to an irreversible conclusion that, look, we cannot afford to fail now. So if that should be our watchword, that's to tell you that we are determined to really succeed. So if we get encouraging criticism, just like as he is saying, it spurs us more to do more, so that because they too, as they are criticizing, they are actually angling for an alternative, but they are finding it difficult to do. Can we do it? If they cannot do it, they are energizing us to do it. And we will do it by the grace of God.
Thank you. But that's an interesting theory. The reality is that in the country, every time you want to have an election, you will have people who are talking about, like you said, 2019 third force. People group together, maybe the other 16 political parties outside of the two major political parties. You will have them. But what normally happens is that there will be a lot of noise, and then after a while they will frizzle out. There are even rumors that some of the parties are in fact floated and supported by politicians within the two major parties. So given that background, do you really think the kind of energizing and strategizing to take power in 2023 that Dr. Tanko is talking about, is that possible?
I think I would have take them more serious if they are focusing on capturing even local government.
Okay.
Because they need to test their capability at grassroots level. Once they do enough, grassroots mobilization and conscientization, it becomes easier for them to capture state and capture the national at national level. But when you just want to come and grab the power at national level, you need to look at these variables that are working well. Nigerian politics is fueled by dirty money. People who have stolen money. Dirty money, all this illicit financial flow, all this money laundering, that people who have siphoned public taxpayers' money, they bring them during the election. That's how they finance this election, and that's why, because there's a flagrant disregard of electoral law in terms of campaign financing, you see them bringing in all sorts of money to do that. Now, if you are talking about soon, that is 2023.
Yes.
Unless in your own party or in your own platform, you have also got those people with that kind of dirty money who will now come and compete with those other people, those other political
similar dirty money.
Otherwise, the best strategy is to begin to focus attention at grassroots level, so that when we are able to demonstrate that yes, your party performed better than the party that you are criticizing, which is APC and PDP, when people see the difference at local government level in terms of administration, in terms of providing basic primary education, primary health care, and what have you, then people will now say, oh, this party is really different from these other parties that have been lying to us, that have been deceiving us. But if your own mindset is just to come and become president in 2023, then you got to compete with these groups, these political parties.
You need the money to do
exactly that they always come and destroy our political process with the dirty money. So it is going to be an equivalent tax for anybody to dream that is going to wrestle power from this, because of this power of money and violence. Unless your group, your party, your political parties is going to also hire merchant of violence to match with the these existing parties, which they usually apply violence and money to capture power. So we want to see how your own would be different. How do you wrestle this power from the PDP and APC without using violence, without using dirty money? What we know, it is the prevalence of what is going on now in the country in terms of capturing political power.
Yeah. So in other words, he's advocating a strategy of slowly but surely. Do you think you are going to win the rest that way?
Well, in that case, you see, it's good that he mentioned local government, because that is actually our strength from the world level. We are building, it's just that it's not time for us to divulge in some of the strategies in which we've already put in place. But one thing we can be rest assured is that if
but politicians always talk of strategies until those strategies are tested during elections.
Of course. Because definitely the platform must come up. When the platform come up, you will now see probably when the platform is effective in those particular grassroots or not. If you see us not achieving our aim, then don't blame us. Because we've already provided the template for Nigerians. And they are the one crying hue and cry that they don't want PDP and all of it. So if they don't come clean with us, we can't force them to do anything alternative. But we are going to provide that particular alternative platform, and we are going to go down to the grassroots to mobilize accordingly. So for us, it's not about spreading money, it's not about violence and all of that, because we will not employ that. Because some of the people that knows our background, our history, knows where we started from and how we are and what has really kept us on where we are. But we want to give another different narrative to this process entirely. That is why we are galvanizing Nigeria on the undecided voters, those who did not even so interested in politics at all, giving them hope that they can do it. And then we can work together and then achieve that particular aim. Once the synergy meets, I can tell you that we will deliver. But it is only when that we've already, because we cannot go outside and I can't divide myself into hundreds of people. People have to join us to vote at the same time. So we are employing them to come up. We have provided the alternative. We are providing the groundwork. We are all ready to support one way or the other. And don't be surprised. Believe me, those who think that logistical funding may not be provided, they'll be amazed, because there are Nigerians who are ready, because they are tired and they want to rescue this country. The key word is rescuing the country. So if you are tired of the situation at the moment now, then there is no alternative. You cannot afford to fail to say that you will have no alternative, because that is the kind of garnishing that I'm saying now, that you have no alternative, that maybe they are starting now, so you don't know. They provided you the opportunity. So it is now left for you to either join or remain perpetually where you are and then keep on thinking that it's not doable.
But interesting ideas about rescuing Nigeria there. But Rafsanjani, that's your more popular name, so I think that's fine. Yeah. The thing is this. The groups, he said earlier that the PDP and APC are like Siamese twins. In other words, there is no difference, especially ideological difference, between the two of them. But what about all these many groups who will now form the third force as well? some of them like Pat Utomi that he mentioned, they may not necessarily belong in the same ideological camp as other people like Tairu Jega or people in PRP or people in NCP. Which is why they are, scattered across several different political parties as well. So how do you see that? How would their ideological dynamics work out to hold them together as one force?
You see, this is part of what I am trying to draw his attention to, with due respect. This hori-hori sin is not going to go anywhere. Because we know that political party building processes take time. It has to embed on ideology. And based on what he's saying, and based on what we have seen in 2015, there was no any ideological basis that brought those political parties, other than capturing power from the former President Jonathan.
Yes.
And when they captured the power, they did not know what to do. That's the challenge that they are also going to get. Because the platform they are having is not conceptualized and built on the basis of ideology that people can identify with. I mean, if you go back, to just 1979, you see PRP, you know what PRP stand for.
Yes.
You see what UPN stand for. GMPP, what stand for. So there are political parties that people know why they are going there. The current contemporary political party system, it is about money inducement and desperation to capture power. And when you get the power, you don't know what to do because you've got no plan, no agenda whatsoever. 2015, everybody thought that after the 2015, this country will begin to shine. But every day, from all the development indices, the country is getting back, is drawing back. Is that not what they have done in the name of coalition or political parties? So because there's no this tangible basic ideology, that brought them together, that's why, the broom has scattered.
So I think his statement is, what he has said is a statement, but also a question to you. Namely that, how is your ideological basis different from that of the APC and the PDP now? And how do you hope to succeed where these ones presumably have failed? But before you answer, we'll be taking a break. When we come back, we'll give you the chance to do just that. If you are just joining us, this is Daily Politics on Trust TV. Today we are discussing the issue of credible alternatives to the APC and PDP. Please, we'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is Daily Politics on Trust TV. And of course, our discussion, you can also follow us on social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Our discussion, of course, before we went on, was about how the third force will be different ideologically and programmatically, that is, in terms of policies from ADP, PDP, and APC. Dr. Tanko.
Thank you very much. Quickly, it's amazing sometimes when arguments are being put in this direction. And the question you want to ask is this. If we do not come up or say we are providing an alternative, what alternative are you asking us to do as Nigerians? To remain where we are? Where it is already, as he has already said, that there's a failure in governance. Everything has the broom has already scattered. So who is going to pack the broom? Do we join them in packing the broom? Or do we help them in taking a scattered umbrella? These are the questions that you want to ask those who put up this argument about whether we will succeed or not to succeed. The fact is that you have to even join us to succeed, because it's a must that we must succeed. Considering the challenges that are already on the ground, the umbrella has scattered.
So Nigerians also have a responsibility to stand up. Is that what you are saying?
Yes, it is a responsibility on every Nigerian to think about how we are going to rescue this country. And with regard to the issue of ideology, I can tell you, most of the political parties that are going to come up very soon are ideologically based political parties. those who have resonated with the people for a very long time. So they have their structures already on ground, and they've been in the trenches for a very long time. So what we want to do, learning from our past mistakes, is to draw up a minimum program of agenda that is agreeable to the group and agreeable with the people.
Okay.
What you have before, or the boom that came together, did not have a program of action that resonate with the people. Is only something that they had on their own. But this time around, what we want to give is something that is agreeable, highly discussed, ideologically based political party that is census, credibly taken care of, edited and agreed by the people. We don't want to do what is on our mind. We want to do what the people want, because we believe that power actually resides in the people. And as I told you earlier on, believe me, if you do not see us succeed, then the people did not come to terms with us, and you cannot blame us.
Interesting. So, Marlon Rafsanjani, he's confident that they have at least a minimum set of programmatic ideas and ideological ideas to sell to Nigerians, and he would like to see that Nigerians also buy into those.
Oh, definitely.
But after ideology, then there is policy, and generating policy requires a certain level of capacity. You are into capacity building, and you know what Nigeria was like, what our, for example, National Assembly people were like in 1999 when they come. You know, many people didn't even know how laws are to be made, and so on and so forth. Do you think there is enough, ideas or policy generating capacity within both political parties, but also in the third force?
Well, I think this is one of the major failure we have, within our political cycle. People want to just take over power.
Okay.
When they get the power, they don't know what to do. You are
Change,
elected.
change.
But you are elected.
What would
you
the
come
change look
without
like?
no blueprint. Now, you expected a government that come to power to come with manifesto, with blueprint on how they want to govern, how they want to run the country. But you discover that that manifesto does not even exist in terms of practicalization. So if you say you are going to have, you have your party that is embedded with the ideology, going by the experience of what is going on, how guarantee are people going to have that kind of ideologically focused thing? For example, what will be your position on the economy?
Exactly.
You have to, you have to sell your campaign. Your manifesto must state clearly, and that's what that's what you will use to, impress somebody to say, okay, let me join you. So Nigerians, they want to see your position on how, fiscal federalism is going to be.
Yes.
Nigerians want to see how devolution of power is going to be.
Yes.
Nigerians want to see indigeneity issue that has been disturbing,
restructuring, things like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
All those basic fundamental issues. They want to see how do you intend to,
to solve this problem.
solve. That will be the basis in which somebody will now come and queue to say that, okay, this new platform, is going to, really, be different. And when they capture power, I will support them before they capture power. And when they capture power, I'll hold them accountable because this is what they say they are going to do. I am saying that due to the lack of consistency in the political processes by the politicians, Nigerians will still have their own reservation. I'm not saying they will not follow you, but there will be reservation because they have not seen you tested those, commitment that you say you're going to have in order to have a change that we desire in this country. So, still coming back to the fact that, you see, all the things that you are talking about is still in a form of story building. It is not even concluded. The theory has not even been concluded. It is
So
in conceptualization.
like
it is theoretical conceptualization.
Yes.
As a social scientist, we will put it. Not talk about even coming to have this set of, policy or theory that will be tested. Because the bottom line is testing the theory.
So that people can see.
So that people will see the difference between black and red. So we did not say don't have inspiration or don't have a plan to do that, but we are talking about within the context of mistrust in the country. Nigerians have suffered enough in the hands of politicians, and your own group is not an exception to Nigerians, because they are politicians. As far as they are concerned, all politicians are the same, right? Yes. So to deconstruct that is going to take time. That's why I say it has to be, you have to be patient to begin to build this in gradually for people to believe, in what they are talking about. But if the whole idea was to capture 2023, I see a fatal failure.
Interesting. So this leads us directly to the issue of personnel within the idea of the task force. People would say that many of the people that are promoting it, that are pushing it, have in fact been either part of the PDP before or APC before, or been associated with them one way or another. So how does that change the situation?
In politics, you associate with a lot of people.
Okay.
That's the truth about it. But the fact remains that out of the rules...
But you just said that it was bad.
No, those that when you associate, it's different. When you associate,
versa.
it's different from you belonging to them.
Okay.
You associate as friends and all. Even those who antagonize you, you can still be friends, because it's not enmity.
No.
Yes, so yes. That happens. You see, I come from a background of a civil society group.
Okay.
And one of the monumental failures that we do as civil society, we are good in criticisms. Very, very good in criticisms. But when it comes to us building a strong force together, we fail woefully. And this is the reason why I say so. Somewhere before the 1999 elections and all, the Ganifa Waymis, the Fem Falanas, all of this particular civil society group, and all of us believe that it is time for us to forge a common front. And that was what brought in the National Conscience Party. And the party came alive. But when it came alive, out of argument and all of those ones, we refused to contest election in 1999. And then we opened the doors for, permit me, let me use this word, charlatans, and those who have no business with governance to be in government. And now they are strong, very strong. And now, the question is that do we remain in that perpetual thinking of what has brought our failure as those who are agitating and progressively minded in thinking to continue in that same narrative? Obviously, no. Because otherwise, what we are advocating for is not that we only advocate in the thin air, we only sit down in our comfort zone, in our cocoon, to only argue and say, this is how it's supposed to be, this is what it's supposed to be. And yet we cannot put it into practice. It's only when you have power that you can put what you believe and you want to do into practice. And that's what we believe, that some of us who have been seeded to the political terrain for a long time, since I started as a kid in politics, I have never been so convinced as a person that this is the only way to go. And I thank the argument that is already eschewing here. The fact is that in the next few days, thank God that we're talking about what is our policy making, what do we want to do. A shadow government is going to be announced by my humble self. The shadow government is shadow team, so that the government will not go and clamp down on us. But we've already formed the teams. Each of the teams are 3 or 2 in numbers.
If you say shadow government, that's not government, but go on.
Yes, so the shadow team will work against each of these teams to establish our positions as regard to what we have seen and what we don't. We are hoping that it will be the solution to the problem. Like Pat told me, we're heading the economic team. My humble self, other people, and other well-meaning Nigerians who have already formed themselves into this group. They will tinker with what is possible at the moment now and find solutions. And so, in every week before the party gets announced, we will be dishing out to Nigerians what we see that is wrong and what we think can be a solution, just to propel us to taking over leadership by the grace of God. We don't want to do it from the surface. We want to do it from the grassroots. We want people to believe in us as we want them to believe in them, as they want us to also believe in us. So it's a synergy that we are trying to form. Are
you likely to call it Nigeria Solution Party?
No. Well, probably you are giving us an idea. That would be a fantastic one. But then until when we come, it has a process, which I agree with you. It has a lot of processes that we've already started long before now. It's just that it's so encouraging. I'm almost letting out the cat in the bag, but I wouldn't. I'm still going to hold on.
The cat will come out of the bag
definitely anyway. Because they need it out anyway. In whatever color that
it belongs to the people.
It has to, because it has to come out. But because of strategic reasons,
so let me
we have to take it their time.
Thank you.
But believe me, in the next few days, a shadow team of a portfolio of 12 or 13 will be announced, and they will be taking up on government and issue and providing solutions. And that, of course, will help us immensely to build strategy and trust within us and the people.
Thank you. So, Marlon Rafsanjani, you've not been in politics at all. You've been in activism, democracy promotion and things like, just like you two at some point. Now, how do you? But you are also familiar with the country's politics all along, and you work with a lot of people in politics all the time. Do you see the formation of this being possible? Because many of this is a coalition of many different organizations, and most of these different organizations are led by one person, mostly one person. A party comprising mainly of one person. Outside of that one person, maybe one or two secretaries and so on. Do you see them giving up their ambitions? Do you see them giving up their view of the world and coming together to form one organization credible enough to challenge either of the dominant two?
Okay, first and foremost, let me also clarify since one statement that Dr. Tanko has made. You see, all civil society groups or activists, they mustn't be in electoral politics.
Okay.
We don't need all of us to be in electoral politics for governance to work. Some people can choose to go into electoral politics.
Okay.
By the way, as a student of politics, everything we do is political.
Absolutely.
So whether you are into electoral politics, whether you are not into electoral politics, you are performing one politics or the other. Because what you decide, what you want, the decision you have taken on that one is also political. How you get it is also political. So, I mean, let's leave that one. But what I want to, say that we don't need to, all of us, say we want to be in electoral politics. Some of us, we want to continue to provide support to ensure that the governance, works very well. Some of us, we want to monitor and document performance of government. Some of us, we want to provide suggestion, advice, and in some instances, even build the capacity of the political actors. So it's not wrong in any way that some people within the civil society did not join electoral politics. In any case, if you say you want to go into electoral politics, not everybody who has the strength or who has the interest or the passion to go in there. I have decided to remain as an activist because that is where my passion is.
What about the broader question of whether these people...
I'm coming to that,
Yes.
Now, the question of them dropping their ego and allow, maybe a process that will throw up one person based on the democratic and popular support, it is yet to be seen. Okay? Because they have not yet done that. So all they are talking is still futuristic, right? So, but we are talking within the context of what Nigerians have suffered in the hands of these politicians. Many Nigerians, as far as they are concerned, until they see the difference, until they see something happens from their own, platform, that they will now be convinced that, okay, it is possible that this group are different from these other ones. So all I'm saying is that let them continue to be ambitious, but let their ambition also is gauged based on also realistic, parameters within the political landscape today. Otherwise, it will continue to be an illusion.
Okay. So this leads us to another area. Are you not afraid of fifth columnists?
Oh, definitely.
Because you see that in most situations, the stronger parties will plant people in the new body that is trying to come up and use these people to destabilize it. PDP was particularly good at it for many years, during from 1999, upwards. How do you hope to deal with such issues?
Oh, definitely. And that is why it is very important, the way people are taking us now, that they are jokers. So that way, we will not be too open for people to... They don't believe that we can do it.
The election is around the corner.
No, it's good that for the first time we even started earlier. And before we started to closer to the election. But now we are even we start to have some chance because already there's a structure. So it's good that people are looking at us like jokers, that we don't have anything to offer. So by the time we were able to get our acts together and come up, it will be a big surprise. So all the fifth columnists will find they will be too late to have come in to cause destruction like the way they wanted to do. And the truth about it is that, quite honestly, with all due respect, quite a number of our civil society groups, and some of us, including my humble self, at a particular point in time, we only masqueraded as civil society group, but we are political party inclined. We did that. We did that supporting the APC at a particular time. We did. We formed a group, a research group that was helping to group in so what I'm trying to point out
all
here
civil
is
society
that, what I want to
groups
point out
are politically
yes, what I want to point out here
but
is
the
that,
political space is broader
yes,
than
what I
electoral
want to point
politics.
out now is that even at the moment now, maybe because of the failure of what was done in the past, now I'm making it people now to be shying away from it and learning from them and say, so no, I don't want to be associated because already we failed at that particular point in time. It's all fine. So it is good. Let them put that particular marks of the red nose and the big hair with the colored ears and thinking like these guys are jokers. They are not even ready for anything. So by the time God in his infinite mercy have given us that particular synergy, then we come out strong. Maybe at that time we'll be trying to shut the gate that it's too late for anybody who wants to come in.
Thank you. So do you think, Rafsanjani, do you think that this will change the behavior of the APC and the PDP? The fact that they're having competition from a third force, or from people who might provide credible alternatives to Nigerians. Would that change the dominant political behavior within the PDP and the APC?
I know for sure that the main political actors within the PDP and APC, they are not threatened by this group because of the way and manner in which they continue to dominate political power. So they will not be, they will not, first, like I said, what do they use? They use money, they use violence, they use incumbency to undermine anything that will bring about, alternative or change even within the political party structures. So knowing that they acquire these weapons, which in Nigeria today, you cannot take away electoral violence. You cannot take away
but the
money
violence
politics.
has been reducing over time.
No, when it comes to election, you will see from the party primaries, look at what happened in Anambra, once, because the character and behavior of the politicians, which they see, election as just an opportunity to acquire power, to steal more, and use impunity in governance, is what is endangering them. It's not really about service. It is not about commitment to the nation or helping to reduce poverty, reduce maternal mortality, ensure that education are functioning, ensure that the healthcare system is working. Many of the politicians, it is not their preoccupation on that one. So, and for you to say that you are going to come and be different, Nigerians will first want to see that evidence. So all I'm saying is that I'm not faulting your inspiration, but what I'm saying is that for Nigerians to totally believe in you and begin to run away from these two political parties, two major political parties, they gotta see something tangible. When they see something tangible, that's why I keep on emphasizing that at least if you are tested at the grassroots level, at local government level, and they see that you are working your party.
Maybe just before he closes, normally you would have closed, but I will ask you this question and then he closes the discussion. Okay. Maybe if the APC had tried to start from the grassroots, they would be nowhere by now.
No, you see.
So it makes sense to actually go for the head.
No, if you look at the APC, particularly the candidate of the APC, with all his so-called grassroots, supporters as well, but because there was no national consensus, he didn't go anywhere. He only keep on getting his votes in his primary constituency. So, but when they did that, alliances, coalition, they were able to, to reach out and be able to have the election, in 2015. But all I'm trying to say is simple, that for us to see tangible results that is different from the traditional APC and PDP, they need to concentrate and capture power and change the lives of people at grassroots level.
Thank you. So that brings us, this will be our very last question anyway. But there's a lot of cynicism among Nigerians, you know, about politics and especially about politicians, and also about the PDP or APC. People don't feel anything is going to change again. You know, who is going to come now that will tell us what we have not had before. How do you think, you know, and then he's saying that you have to demonstrate to show how you can make a difference. Before you can demonstrate that, you have to have the power. So how do you hope to conquer or to get across that cynicism in Nigerians while you don't have power in the meantime?
I am happy that he alluded to the fact that people have to come together to wrestle power from PDP. So what makes our own position different?
Okay.
It's almost the same thing, because we are galvanizing to wrestle power. Don't forget that we've all tried it individually at a point in time. It didn't get us anywhere on several occasions in that particular building of processes. But now we've already said that, okay, having understand these particular challenges, we are now thinking, let's come together and work together to wrestle power. So, and wrestling power has its own processes. We are not going for local government election now. We are not. The whole election that is coming up is governorship election, state assembly, and all
then
of
the general election.
So, and so we don't have an opportunity to contest for local government election. And anyway, in this particular local government election nowadays, it's the state governor, anybody that he wants, and then the state electoral commission that galvanize and then wrestle power, and then they take over power. But what as it is now, what we can do...
We don't have any more time.
What we can do...
10 seconds.
What we can do is come together and challenge the status quo. Once you get the head, the tail will follow.
Once you get the head, the tail will follow. I think on that note, we will be ending to today's program. And thank you for staying with us. And we're also looking forward to seeing you again when you join us tomorrow, same time, for another episode of Daily Politics on Trust TV. I'm your regular host, Suleiman. Enjoy the rest of your day.